Hello, I'm Craig Brailsford, and welcome to another episode of Small Stocks, Big Money. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features interviews with executives of two public companies. First up is Nexalin Technology, stock symbol NXL on the NASDAQ. Nexalin Technology is a pioneering medical technology company focused on addressing the global mental health crisis through innovative neurostimulation devices. Nexalin's products, which include the Gen 2 and newly introduced Gen 3 Halo Clarity devices, are non-invasive and utilize advanced frequency-based stimulation to target deep brain structures associated with various mental health disorders. These disorders include, but are not limited to, depression, anxiety, insomnia, PTSD, and traumatic brain injuries. Nexalin's commitment to non-pharmacological treatment options is underpinned by extensive clinical research and intellectual property protections, aiming to provide significant therapeutic benefits without adverse effects. The company's approach integrates product innovation with a virtual clinic model to enhance accessibility and effectiveness of treatments, offering a significant step forward in mental health care. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Up next is Volition RX Limited, a United States-based epigenetics company that applies its nucleosomics platform through its subsidiaries to develop simple, easy-to-use, cost-effective blood tests to help diagnose and monitor a range of life-altering diseases, including some cancers, and diseases associated with netosis, such as sepsis and COVID-19. The tests are based on the science of nucleosomics, which is the practice of identifying and measuring nucleosomes in the bloodstream or other bodily fluid, an indication that disease is present. The company is focused on human diagnostics and monitoring, but also has a subsidiary focused on animal diagnostics and monitoring. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Now, before we get to the first interview, our quote of the week. It comes from the book Small Stocks, Big Money. Work hard, be a long-term thinker, develop tenacity, and remember, nothing happens without taking calculated risks. This quote comes from Phil Sassower of the Phoenix Group, featured in Chapter 9 of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon today for just $18. Now, let's get started with our first interview today with Nexalin Technology. Hello, today we have Mark White, CEO of Nexalin Technology, trading on the NASDAQ under the ticker NXL. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Now, Mark, Nexalin is commercializing its innovative treatment method for neurological illnesses. Let's start with a broad overview of your business.
Okay, let's talk about neurological illnesses. What we're talking about is mental health. Everyone listening to this call knows somebody struggling with some type of a challenge related to quality of life, whether it's children for attention and behavior, parents, dementia, or everyone in between would be anxiety, depression, insomnia. There's not only a national but a global mental health epidemic. Currently, the only treatment options for the patients is medication with side effects and other types of risk issues associated with medication, or talk therapy. And what Nexalin is in the business of is using a non-invasive neurostimulator which applies a frequency through the forehead and behind each ear, and it literally talks to the brain in its native language. It's completely undetectable to the human body. It is so powerful that it can reduce the symptoms of the primary mood disorders by as much as 80% within a 2 to 4 week period. So we're in the neurostimulation business, so we stimulate neurons in a positive way. It's non-medication, non-invasive, and a 40-minute treatment over a 15 to 20 treatment profile. And that's basically what Nexalin Technology is in the business of.
Mark, you've identified a $94 billion addressable market. Could you elaborate on the factors driving this large market potential and how Nexalin is positioned to capitalize on it?
Okay, well, so we just talked about everyone knows somebody. So whether it's anxiety, depression, insomnia, substance use, aka addiction, chronic pain, or TBI. Basically, if you look at the size of those markets, you'll get a $90 to $120 billion industry that currently, as I mentioned earlier, the only treatment option is medication and or talk therapy. And this is where Nexalin steps in with this state-of-the-art digital treatment that's very efficacious, meaning that the response is very positive from the patient, safe and risk-free.
Now, Mark, tell us more about that virtual clinic model that Nexalin is introducing. This is an at-home treatment system, and how does it benefit patients and healthcare providers?
Okay, so when we do our research, the first major piece of information that we are focused on was understanding that 70% of every adult in the United States of America that qualifies for a mental health diagnosis will never seek treatment because of the issues I've already said, primarily medication side effects and talk therapy, the only options. So we know that actual access to the patient population is number one. Number two, access to quality psychiatric care is very limited in this country. So if you're able to address access to the treatment, you're also able to deal with the stigma, because that's another big challenge for a lot of patients, is they don't want to go to the psychiatrist. They don't want to drive to a clinic. They would much prefer to be in the privacy of their own home. So when we talk about a virtual clinic, clinic is the key word here. Just imagine that instead of getting in the car, going to the psychiatrist, getting your mental health evaluation, you're now able, in the privacy of your own home, through the privacy of your phone, laptop, or desktop computer, you can sign in like a telehealth platform, except it's a little more intensive than that. You go through a complete evaluation in the privacy of your home. In that moment, the physician will offer you the treatment of Nexalin Technology. He will prescribe it because this is a medical technology. This is not a consumer device that you can buy on the internet. This must go through a medical professional. So in the virtual clinic, you're able to receive your diagnosis virtually through the telehealth platform. The doctor is able to prescribe and then issue an order to ship the device to your home. You receive the headset at home. You download the app on your phone. You put in your patient profile number. The basically digital technology takes it from there. Your protocol for treatment is downloaded from the cloud into the headset. It's all coordinated through the app. We're able to monitor patient response, symptom response, safety, side effects, if any. And again, it's a side effect-free treatment, but in the world of data, you want to collect as much positive data as you possibly can for the patient's experience. And that is all done in a virtual experience and can be managed and monitored through the portals that the physician has access to, the patient, and then the technology company that coordinates the shipment of the device.
Mark, those are some very attractive ideas, and as we've already discussed, it's a gigantic market. How do you make money?
Okay, so we have a clinical device and we have a headset device, if you will, the device that will be administered through the virtual clinic. So on the clinical device, we sell our device, our technology, to the doctor. And we also provide a single-use set of disposable electrodes. So we put a small pad on the forehead, a small pad behind each ear. It has a small cord that hooks up to a clinical device. So we sell the device and we sell the single-use disposable electrodes. Think of the razor blade model, all right? So we have a recurring revenue stream for each treatment, for each set of electrodes that's used. Once the patient has been cleared for the virtual clinic, you sell the device to the consumer, and then the consumer pays a small monthly subscription fee. The doctor is paid through the reimbursement for the traditional evaluation, et cetera. So your doctor gets paid, the patient pays for the headset, and then the patient pays for a monthly subscription fee to use the device. Both models have the recurring revenue stream similar to the razor blade model.
Mark, sum it up for our viewers. Why should investors take an interest in Nexalin right now?
Okay, we know we've got a problem. We got a big problem, and it's only going to get worse. And we know that medication is solving about 20 to 30% of the problem. So 70% of the population struggling with some type of a mood disorder is going to be looking and searching for for some type of a treatment that is safe and effective, that they have access to, that they won't have to deal with a psychiatrist in a psychiatric setting. And this is specifically what Nexalin Technology is all about. We have the treatment. It's a frequency-based neurostimulator. It is completely undetectable to the human body. It has a close to 80% efficacy response in the mood disorders that we've mentioned on this call. And finally, the access is now through virtual clinics. So whether you live 300 miles from your nearest metropolitan area or you live right in the suburbia area, does not matter. Everything can be now done through the privacy of a virtual clinic in a telehealth setting in the privacy of your home, safe, risk-free, highly efficacious. It's the future of mental health treatment. This is digital health. And we all know we are all experiencing digital health experiences in all of our current healthcare treatment models and experiences at the doctor's office. We just never really paid attention to it. Well, we're starting to understand that the future of medicine and healthcare is going to be in digital health and a digital treatment that's safe and effective. And that's specifically what we built Nexalin Technology to provide.
I like the memorable way you put it, Mark. It's the future. Thank you for telling your story today.
Thank you.
Now, to get more information on Nexalin Technology, visit nxlinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RED-CHIP to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Nexalin Technology. Now, let's move on to our next interview today with VolitionRX Limited.
Cameron, thanks for being with us today. Welcome to Small Stocks, Big Money.
Thank you, Dave. Great to be here.
Thank you. So, VolitionRX is at the forefront of early disease detection. Tell us how your company's diagnostics tests are revolutionizing the way we approach cancer and other critical illnesses.
Yeah, thank you. Volition is on a mission to transform healthcare through our early disease detection. Our non-invasive blood tests leverage our fantastic nucleosomics platform to identify signs of disease earlier, quicker, and cheaper than the other methods currently available. And it's a fantastic platform. We're really at the cusp now of commercialization. We've started with veterinary. We're now in the human space, and we can make a massive difference over the next few years and really help save a lot of lives and hopefully make a very good return for our shareholders. And if you think of what we're doing, it's a market with huge potential demand. We all know how deadly and dangerous sepsis and cancer are. We have a very sticky product with recurring demand. It's a test you take quite a lot. We have a highly scalable and platform and business model, and we've been very successful in licensing so far, and that's how we intend to commercializing, through licensing to the very big players, which has worked very well in vet.
Cameron, tell us more about this nucleosome technology. What's different about it?
Yes, it's very, very, very low cost, very scalable. It doesn't need a separate platform, and it measures chromatin fragments, which is the DNA wrapped in proteins. Everyone else has been really focused on the DNA itself, which is obviously very important, but the chromatin fragments are much quicker and easier to measure. And that's what we focus on, and we're the worldwide experts in that now.
And what, again, are the specific diseases that your tests target, and how many tests do you have?
So we measure the chromatin fragments, which are very important in cancer. So the first products have been in the veterinary space. The animals have the same chromatin and get the same cancers. So that's now launched with the biggest partners worldwide. And the same chromatin fragments are also extremely helpful in the early detection of sepsis. So a very wide range of different things, but all with the same platform.
So let's go back to the test for sepsis. How big is that market, and when will you commercialize it?
Sepsis is all too deadly, and you're probably familiar. It's one of the biggest causes in more than individual cancers, and it's the primary cause of death in hospitals. So it's a horrifying disease to get. And what really kills you in sepsis is you get detected too late. It's about a 7.6% increased chance of mortality for every hour you're not diagnosed. So our test absolutely measures the chromatin fragments, the immune response, extremely quickly and easily and cheaply. So potentially an absolutely massive market, and one which I think, if we're successful, which I think we will be something everyone in the world takes many, many dozens of times in their life.
Is your test more accurate for sepsis?
Yeah, so we measure the body's sepsis now is defined. One of the many definitions is a dysregulated immune response. You actually die from your body's immune response, completely losing control. And we can measure that extremely quickly. The test can be run in 15 minutes in the lab test, and in just a couple of minutes on the point of care test. So very quickly, very easy to run, and it's proving to be extremely accurate and quick. So I think it's the perfect package to really make a massive difference in sepsis.
Is it the Medicare reimbursable?
We haven't gone through that process yet, but it's a test which will cost as much as a normal routine test. So very low cost, very easy to run. So we'd strongly expect it would get a reimbursement, but obviously that's not we haven't started that process yet. We're still in the FDA side, but something which has the strong potential to take a lot of costs out of the healthcare system, which is very unique these days. Everything is piling more and more costs onto a system that's already kind of overloaded. Ours can really take those costs out. So I think it's going to be very helpful.
Do you have patents around the technology?
Yeah, we have a huge patent moat, if you will, moat, sir. We've been doing this now for 14 years. We've been patenting everything we can. Everyone else has been focused on different things. So we've had a unique position to really dominate the intellectual property and become the worldwide experts. So we have very, very happy with our patent portfolio.
Let's go back to the vet test, because that's also a very large market opportunity for you. Once again, is that now available to vets?
Yeah, so yes, absolutely, Dave. So our business model is to let the big players license it and then run the tests and do all the work. So IDEXX, which you're probably familiar with, is the biggest lab company in the planet, has launched it in the US. So it's available to the vast majority of vets. If you're a dog owner and you want to ask, the NUQ vet test. Also, we just announced two very big broadening of the sales of it. Antech, which is owned by Mars Pet Care, which is a very, very large pet care company as well. And that's available in the hospital itself, in the vet bedside or tableside, whatever it is for an animal. And that can be run in just a few minutes. And that was just launched last month. And we've also signed up Fuji Vet in Japan, which is the biggest vet company in Japan. If you add all that up, the addressable, now this is not if your dog is sick, does it have cancer, but a true screening test. So that's tens of millions of dogs per year, potentially in the US, of the right age, and tens or more millions of dogs worldwide. So a huge market. We're with the right partners, and it's looking very promising. And we've made upfront milestone payments to us. They have made, and we're also making money every time they run the test. So it's a fantastic business model, and one that's very scalable.
What were the upfront milestone payments? How much?
Currently from Antech, the Mars Group, we've got $23 million from them, so very meaningful. And depending on the partner, we make between $5 and $12 per test when they're run. And the partners do all the work, collect the blood, run the test. So it's a very good business model for us because it's the only really screening test out there, and it's good for our shareholders and good for dogs and owners as well.
Well, partnered with Antech Mars, that's very substantial, very significant. Those are very global institutions in pet diagnostics.
Yes, they did a lot of work on the test to be happy. Both IDEXX and Mars, Antech have done a huge amount of work on validation, making sure it works properly. All the things have happened. And currently, we're the only game in town for screening in animals. So it's a very, very big launch, the biggest companies you can imagine. And now we're going to replicate all of that, we believe, in the human space.
And I think just in the U.S., I think there's, about 40 million dogs? Is that right?
Actually, there's different estimates, but up to 70 or 80 million dogs. And our addressable market is about 23 million dogs. Dogs are over 5 or 6 years old and high-risk breeds. So that's a lot of tests per year. And if you double or triple that worldwide, we've launched in Europe widely as well, and Japan, as we mentioned. Huge potential market, and something that can do a lot of good to our furry friends. And as we say, we like to help at both ends of the leash, and we're moving strongly in the human market now.
What's the essential value proposition for investors? Why should they consider owning your stock today, Cameron?
Very good question, Dave. And we're at a massive inflection point or points at the moment. The vets have all launched, most recently, just very recently, on the in-house test with Antec Mars. It's already running in the labs with IDEX worldwide, Europe, Japan. So that's the ramp we expect to go through end of this year and next year. Very, very meaningful revenue. On the human space, we have two big blockbusters in sepsis and human cancer. We've got some very large trials going now. We expect them to be finished in the next few weeks and to have the data public over the summer and then license those out as we did in the vet space. And we expect also very large milestone payments and ongoing revenue. So now is a fantastic time. You're probably all very familiar with how deadly sepsis and cancer are. I think we're going to be a huge part of the solution to making them very treatable diseases and very survivable diseases at a very low cost at a very scalable platform. All those should amount to an excellent time to be investing now and to be a long-term shareholder as we continue to grow.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Cameron. It is a great story, and given your market cap today, yes, I would have to say that there's considerable upside here. So congratulations on executing well, and we'll have you back soon on the show.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Now, to get more information on VolitionRX Limited, visit VNRXinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like VolitionRX Limited. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small cap companies. And also go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can order Small Stocks, Big Money. This is a book written by RedChip's CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon for $18. Now let's recap the companies featured today. First, you met Nexalin Technology, stock symbol NXL on the NASDAQ. Nexalin Technology is a pioneering medical technology company focused on addressing the global mental health crisis through innovative neurostimulation devices. Nexalin's products, which include the Gen 2 and newly introduced Gen 3 Halo Clarity devices, are non-invasive and utilize advanced frequency-based stimulation to target deep brain structures associated with various mental health disorders. These disorders include, but are not limited to, depression, anxiety, insomnia, PTSD, and traumatic brain injuries. Nexalin's commitment to non-pharmacological treatment options is underpinned by extensive clinical research and intellectual property protections, aiming to provide significant therapeutic benefits without adverse effects. The company's approach integrates product innovation with a virtual clinic model to enhance accessibility and effectiveness of treatments, offering a significant step forward in mental health care. Learn more at www.nxlinfo.com. Then you met VolitionRX Limited, stock symbol VNRX on the New York Stock Exchange American. VolitionRX Limited is a United States-based epigenetics company that applies its nucleosomics platform through its subsidiaries to develop simple, easy-to-use, cost-effective blood tests to help diagnose and monitor a range of life-altering diseases, including some cancers, and diseases associated with netosis, such as sepsis and COVID-19. The tests are based on the science of nucleosomics, which is the practice of identifying and measuring nucleosomes in the bloodstream or other bodily fluid, an indication that disease is present. The company is focused on human diagnostics and monitoring, but also has a subsidiary focused on animal diagnostics and monitoring. Learn more at www.vnrxinfo.com. And don't forget to check out our stocks page. It is the biggest small cap stock portal in the industry. every company listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange with market caps of $2 billion and less. And it's categorized by industries. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small cap companies. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, if you have any questions about any of our public companies featured on today's show, call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small cap stocks are among the most volatile of asset classes. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in these companies. So please, always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new, exciting emerging growth companies.